Harambe YouTube, it is Charles here, and this is Comics and Talk, where I show off a little bit of my comic collection and talk a little bit about comics, life, me, whatever. What I'm doing right now is I got a whole collection from my buddy Steve. He wanted to give his collection to somebody who would appreciate it, so he brought over two long boxes of stuff I've been going through, checking out, bagging if it needs to be bagged, and just seeing what we got and sharing that with you guys and talking a little bit about me. Uh, so let's begin. We have X-Men. Also listening to a little jazz. I got a concert on. Connie Hahn live in St. Louis from a couple years ago. So we got X-Men 2099 from number 28 from Marvel Comics. Pretty good condition. So what to talk about? I know for me the thing that's been most on my mind is 47. This last Thursday I turned 47. So as the title of the channel suggests, I am indeed an old nerd. X-Men Adventures says still only $1.50. So this is a while ago, probably early 90s. Let's see here. 1995. You got a great drawing of Wolverine on the cover. It's in very good condition. But yeah, I've been reflecting and on where I expected to be on life and where I am. Where I expected to be, it really varies based on when I was younger. The first thing I wanted to be when I was younger was a mechanic, an airplane mechanic, even though I hate airplanes and never flown. But my father was a mechanic, and I wanted to do one better than him, so I figured what's better than a mechanic on the ground, but a mechanic in the sky. And then I realized that I was afraid of heights. So yeah, that went away pretty quick. Next we have X-Men Adventures. Looks like we have Storm and Rogue fighting each other on the cover. Love that cover. This is season 2, number 3. Set this aside to read pretty quick. And then after that, of course, I wanted to be a professional athlete. But then I realized I was not coordinated. I could trip over my own feet walking on flat ground. And then in high school, I was like, well, I'm going to be a preacher. And I followed that dream up to seminary. Yeah, X-Men Adventures number 4. And it was cool. I mean, it wasn't time wasted. It's just, I went to seminary right out of high school because it was the opportunity I had. And while I was in seminary, I found that really, while I enjoyed being involved in the church and had a passion for it, it was not to be from a pulpit or leadership position. You know, I enjoyed the volunteering, even the stuff that, we did that wasn't involved with quote unquote pastoring, but just to taking care of the church property and getting ready for services. And all the arduous stuff, I dug that, but I did not enjoy the public speaking. I did not want to be in leadership. But it did give me opportunity to explore my love of music. I had lots of time to practice guitar, and when I wasn't studying, I would go to the church and play the drums, play the piano, play the bass. And that led me to my true passion, which was music. And right out of seminary, I started studying jazz at the local community college. And that's when I had my probably most delusional X-Men Ultra Collection. Books 1 of 5. Okay. Love this cover. see, we got the whole series here. So we got book one. And I won't say that being a jazz musician was out of reach because I didn't have the ability or the capability. You know, everybody has the capability for music. It's not magic. It's about practice and effort. And then we have X-Men Ultra Collection, January 205. Not seeing any more of these right off. But when I started playing jazz, I was maybe a couple years into being a self-taught guitarist. And while I did have a passion for music, I didn't have a passion for one instrument. And the way my guitar teacher put it to me was, you know, he sat me down one day and he was like, you can be a very good guitarist slash bassist slash drummer, or you could be a great guitarist. But you cannot be, you know, a virtuoso at multiple things at this point in your life. And I feel like his goal with that instruction was to get me to focus on guitar. Next we have Avengers, Ladies Night Out, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That's a cool looking cover. I'm wondering if this is the early model of Captain Marvel or what. But I really took the exact opposite tack. It's a little bit older. We got the pulpy comic paper here. It's already bagged. Okay. But what I took from that talk was, okay, I don't want to be a great guitarist at this point. I want to be good at multiple things. And so that's where I put my focus, and I have no regrets. You know, I am, you know, a well-respected local musician who, you know, has played a lot around here in a lot of different situations, with a lot of different people. The Three Faces of Evil, the Green Goblin from Marvel Comics. And I still do music. I record music here at home, and I write, you know, I write and record music, and I also do a lot of jazz covers. And then for my normal videos, not these long form talk videos, but for the action figure unboxings, the comic reviews, all that stuff, all the music you hear in those videos is stuff that I recorded myself, mainly because I was wondering, okay, I want to make these videos stand out a little bit, but I don't want to upset the copyright system. Spider-Man Final Adventure. Okay, this is a cool looking cover, a full cover here. Good looking book. It is from trying to find a year on this thing. I think it's from the late 90s. 1995 Marvel Comics. But yeah, so I just recorded my own music for my videos, and so that's one way that I still use music. And then play locally, not as much as I used to. I used to play 2 to 3 up to 4 times a month. Now it's once in a blue moon. But I enjoy it anytime I get to play outside of my home. Here we got Spider-Man Team Up featuring X-Men #1. But what really set my life on the course that it's in now is after, you know, the church job. Oh yeah, I was talking about how I worked at a church teaching kids music in my last video. I'm recording this right after, so I feel like I have to remind myself, okay, that was in the last video. But yeah, after I went to school for jazz and ended up leaving that, I fell into a stint of alcohol abuse and just kind of drifting. You know, just kind of doing whatever. We got Green Goblin. from November. This is number 2, Marvel Comics. And after I got sober, I wanted to find a vocation that I could be passionate about and that would aid my sobriety. And I heard that there was a church down the street from me looking for a youth music teacher. I had qualifications, but it was my track record and history I was worried about. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to apply. I'm going to be completely honest. I have, seminary training behind me, formal music education, and experience in contemporary Christian music. So I'm going to put it out there. I got the interview. Going to meet some nice people. Tell them to have a nice day and thank them for their time. And I went to the interview expecting to get nothing from it. Got Force Works, number 14, Marvel Comics. And by the end of the interview, they welcomed me to the team of the music staff there at that, what kind of church was it? It's so long ago. It was like 11, 12 years ago. Methodist, yeah, they welcomed me to the staff of the Methodist Church. I wasn't even Methodist. I was a non-denominational, I guess you could say non-denominational Pentecostal. Now I'm a lot less formal with that. I just consider myself a follower of Christ. But yeah, it was a great experience. It kept me sober, and I did that for a while. But you know, when the recession hit, music lessons were the first things to go, and that's how I mainly survived. I got a small salary from the church, and I made the rest of my subsistence from giving music lessons to the kids. And so I decided I wanted to get a steady job, and I went back to the most steady job I had before my alcoholism, which was a convenience store, working at Loaf and Jug. Got Green Goblin from December, number 3, Marvel Comics. And so I went back and I, decided to commit myself to being the best employee that I could be. And I was killing it. I was getting raise after raise. I was getting the store bonuses. You know, I actually had a good relationship with the regional supervisor. Most people, when he would come to the stores, they would be nervous, and it was a whole tense thing. Yeah, Green Goblin, January 4. But Nev, he would come to my store just to shoot the breeze. Because he knew that, when he came to my store, he wouldn't have to nitpick. He wouldn't have to tell me to get to work. And so he would just come by to shoot the breeze. And I would jokingly, hey, am I going to get another raise soon? And, and he would always hook me up with a little raise here, here and there. I was making good money by the time I got injured. And, yeah, just one day, because I started going into early because it was frustrating because, while I was doing a great job, my coworkers, if they worked before me, they knew I would pick up the slack. If they worked after me, they knew they would be coming to a meticulously clean store. And so they kind of got lazy, and so I ended up coming in 15 minutes before my shift to play catch up, and I took a wrong step in the cooler, carrying a bunch of totes of soda. That Green Goblin, number 6. And I heard a loud pop that sounded like a cap gun. And when I went to stand up, I couldn't stand up. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, but that injury and a misdiagnosis and a surgery based on that misdiagnosis made me disabled for life. And so, that's what got me, really retrospective. And there was a time, okay, this is going right to the top of the weed pile. The Return of Spider-Man Unlimited, guest starring Black Cat. I love Black Cat, one of my favorite Marvel characters. And this is a great looking cover. And it's a fairly contemporary book, you can tell from the paper stock and the art style, I would say late 90s, early 2000s. Let's see, this is from 1995, mid 90s. But yeah, after I got injured, I felt, at first I was hopeful because I thought the surgery was going to get me back to where I was, and I'd be back getting raises, and I was on the verge of starting. The only thing for me next was manager training. But that injury put all my plans on the back burner. The all new Exiles, all new #1. I love me a #1 issue from Marvel Comics. And I was in denial for a while. I tried to fight through it. I tried to work through it. And my coworkers, they did right by me. The store never fought my workers' comp, and when I tried to come back, it was obvious to everybody. Yeah, all new Exiles #2. We get the sequential here. It was obvious to everybody that I could not do the job, but bless their hearts, they didn't try to stop me. They supported me, they encouraged me, but it got to a point to where they quit scheduling me by myself, and I realized I was more of a liability than an asset. As hard as I tried, and I couldn't do the job asked of me. So I did years of vocational and physical rehab, and get the all new Exiles #3, Marvel Comics. But as hard as I worked, I I couldn't get my ability to walk back. I couldn't get my ability to stand up consistently back. I couldn't move around without mobility aids. I was a fall risk. And I needed a lot of help. And, yeah, the Nightman. I think this is a Marvel comic. It's an all black cover here. And that was a big blow, to my 30-year-old ego. Yep, Marvel Comics. I've never heard of this title. It has some great looking art though. It's from 1995. Color me intrigued. But yeah, that was a big blow to my ego, and I went through denial, and tried to work my way, positive, think my way better. And the Nightman, #2 of 4. And eventually, the doctor, he said 3 words that crushed me: maximum medical improvement. Meaning that his ability to, oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. His ability to repair what was wrong with me was exhausted, and I was going to be disabled for the rest of my life. It looks like this book has something was going on with this. This is very interesting. Okay. Trying to see what's going on with this cover, because we have, I think it's like 2 books. Because if you flip it this way, it's the Nightman #2, and you flip it over, Phoenix Resurrection #2, and it reads, I think like half the book, half the book is So it's like two books in one. Very interesting. I bet you that this other one that I looked at has the same thing going on. That is very cool. But yeah, that was a big blow to me when I was told I was at maximum medical improvement and I would not be able to walk, live, or stand normally ever again. And that really sent me to a dark place. Okay, nope, that's just a regular standard book here for this first issue. A place that I almost did not get out of. But fortunately, I had a friend of mine, the friend I mentioned in the last video who I played in the college big band with, Aaron. Um, he forced me to go to therapy, and on the day when I was about to make a decision, a permanent decision, he actually ended up coming by my house at just the right time and stopping me from doing that. And after that, I decided, with therapy, I found a way to be content in life, but I really didn't live life. This is called Prime. It is Prime Infinity. All black cover here. Intriguing, a lot like the Nightman cover. But yeah, at that point, I had enough fight in me to live, but really not do a lot. I played the occasional gig. This is a preview book of Black September. Interesting. But what I did is I just ended up letting myself go. I got close to, I would say probably up over 400, but at my heaviest weight weigh in, I was at like 397. Got big because I couldn't work anymore, and so I didn't have I was big. I've always been big, but I was never 400 pounds until after that injury, not that depression. But yeah, I got real big, and I lived for gigs. That my life was resting up, preparing for a performance, playing a gig that would take it out of me for about a week, recover, get ready for the next gig. Next we have Prime #2 from Malibu Comics. Okay, we're at Malibu Comics right now. Malibu / Marvel. Here's another one that it looks like is a double at Prime. And then the Phoenix Resurrection #2 on the other direction. But yeah, I existed like that for a bunch of years. And then my mom passed away. And I took that real hard. That's when I moved in here and my health got worse. But what happened is that, through this process of playing gigs, I was putting stuff on the back burner, and I didn't notice that in a matter of months, I went from close to 400 pounds to about 260 in an unhealthy way. And it was because I was neglecting everything except for my music, and that's when I discovered I had diabetes. And yeah, Siren #1. I think this is probably one of those Malibu / Marvel things here. This looks very interesting. Looks like a female protagonist. Nope, this is just Malibu Comics. Yeah, there's some Marvel characters in it. I'm gonna have to research what Malibu Comics is. If you guys let me know if you know about Malibu Comics in the comment section. I am gonna have to hit up Google to find out what this is about. But definitely like the aesthetic at least. But yeah, when I found out I had diabetes, the doctors, they were straight with me that I would have to cut out the junk, get off the sugar, get a little bit more movement in my life, and take medication. And that's what I did. I still like my soda, but I drink diet soda now. I don't eat out at fast food restaurants ever. Actually, I don't eat at restaurants. I cook everything I make here. Like, even if I have a hamburger, we got Siren #2, and then on the back, the Phoenix Resurrection, live after. But yeah, I even grind my own meat for my hamburgers, to get rid of the fat. Um, I eat clean for the most part. I indulge in a little snacky snack here and there. I love my popcorn. I make the fresh stuff though. I don't mess with that microwave stuff. And I'm down, I don't know, probably around 3 bills, which is, I'm still, like I said, I've always been a big dude. But I'm a lot healthier than I was. At the height of my depression, I work out 6 days a week, and I've been doing that. This looks interesting. Again, from Malibu Comics, called Ultra Force. I love this cover. Then we got Phoenix Resurrection on the back. I love this cover. This character design. Yeah, I've been at my 6 day a week workout regimen. Started out with some dumbbells, doing basic stuff, building up to a routine now. Where I have a set schedule of what I do to hit all the muscle groups I can. Do non-resistant work with my legs, and started pedaling on my exercise bike this summer. I'm so proud. Um, when I first got hurt, I used to love riding my bike around, and I couldn't keep a bike going. Even in physical therapy, I was lucky to get 15 minutes. But now, I am up to the point to where I can average about 40 minutes on a bad day. I actually made it up over an hour once or twice, and so I'm excited about that. And my goal is not weight loss; it's strength gain and muscle gain. But I have lost a considerable amount of weight, and I'm going to continue to because work is work. Yeah, Mantra from Malibu Comics. It is bad and boarded. But, at 47 years old, I am very happy. Yeah. Mantra #2. So we got some sequential books here. I'm happy where I am. I started collecting and reading around 40 years old, which I thought was novel at the time, but when you actually get into the community, most comic book readers, are in their 30s to 50s, even into their 60s, and so I'm not such an oddity. And you have another sequential book, Mantra, #3. And then, as far as action figure collectors too, it's a lot. It has a little bit wider range. You have your kids that play with the toys, but for the more expensive ones with the better articulation, and those are all going to be your older cats like myself. Uh, but in my life right now is just trying to be a positive light wherever I'm at. If I'm around people, I want to make sure that I'm not a reason that they frown. If I can't make you smile, the least I want to do is not make you frown. And I have found joy and stress relief. We got Rune, number two, and Phoenix Resurrection. Phoenix Resurrection. Um, and how it helps me is not always what you think. With the action figure collecting, I always say it's not about the purchase. The purchase is my least favorite part because my favorite part is the hunt and getting online, going in stores, trying to find that one action figure that you want for your collection. Not only finding it, but finding it at the right price. Maybe that chase variant that you're looking for. Getting on eBay, finding that, grail piece that you're looking for. Got the Phoenix Resurrection, number zero. Okay, this is from Malibu Comics. This is number zero, so I'm going to put this toward the front of my read pile. And so yeah, it gives me something to do on a day. My mobility days, they range from days where I can walk relatively comfortable with just bad pain to days where I cannot walk. But even on days when I'm stuck in bed, I can always get my iPad and check out what's new on the action figure scene and what's going on there. And I can always pick up a comic book as well. Okay, what is this? This looks like some kind of poster or something for X-Men from Fleer. Interesting. But after I got COVID, when COVID first hit, my biggest problem was my cognition and my balance. Got Sovereign 7 from DC Comics. This is a number one issue. It is bagged and boarded. And things like I could not sit in a chair without arms or else I would just fall over. And when I got into reading comics around that time, it helped me get my mind focused and it retrained my brain to hold information and improve my cognition. Yeah, this is in great condition. Look at this. From around the time of that Batman Forever movie, we get an advertisement for that on the back. Let's see, what year is this from? 1995. So you got Sovereign 7 number 1, Sovereign 7 number 2. It is bagged and boarded. Yeah, Sovereign 7. Looks like we have number 3, but we got multiple copies of number 3. So I'll probably do is I'll probably bag this up and give this to a friend. I will give them the more beat up copy though. Oh man. Yeah, that's from DC, Sovereign 7. I'll give this to my comic buddy Mary. So, yeah, there we go. And then we got more Sovereign 7 books, we do. Yeah, Sovereign 7, okay, so that's number 3. And then I'm missing a couple of issues. We're getting down to the end here of the stack. But yeah, comic books improve my cognition and memory retention. after getting COVID-19. And it gave me a sense of community as well, connecting up with other local collectors and online. And even things like this YouTube channel. And so at 47, I'm not where I plan to be, but I'm where I want to be. Yeah, solid 7. Number 6, I'm a fairly accomplished local musician. I have friends, I have loved ones. I have more comic books than an old nerd could ask for. And who knows how many years ahead of me. Plus, despite being disabled, I am stronger in a lot of my body than I've ever been. So while I can't walk, I can still move a lot of weight here. Yeah, this book has a little creasing in it, but that's okay. This is Solving 7, number 7. And I would have never thought at 47 that I would be weight training, much less being disabled and weight training 6 days a week, even though I hate it and it's hard. And I had diabetes, and I reversed my diabetes from weight training and cardiovascular training and diet. Yeah, DC versus the showdown of the situation. Oh, DC versus Marvel. Oh, we got a major company crossover for the last book of the night. Look at this. We got a foil cover. Woo, this is from 1995. This is actually very interesting because right now DC and Marvel are doing another crossover. They did Deadpool. They did the Deadpool Batman book last month. I've read it. I enjoyed aspects of it. There were lots of crossovers. There was a crossover story between Deadpool and Batman, which I thought felt a little rushed. Now that I know that it's going to be a continuing series, I wish they would have maybe stretched it out a little bit more. But the story between Wonder Woman and Captain America was good. A few of the other stories, Green Arrow and Hawkeye. And so there was, yeah, some good stories in that. And I just ordered Batman Deadpool, which is like the second edition of One Shot. So I'm going to see what that's about. Hopefully I enjoy that more than Deadpool Batman crossover. But yeah, I love seeing these novel crossover issues. So yeah, get a good look at that. And, you know, back in my younger days, I didn't even know comic books were a thing that still existed. And now I am surrounded by them. So, that's going to do it for tonight. Got some more bags, or some more books bagged. We'll take a look at the highlights from this session. Of course, we got the Marvel DC crossover. If I can get this thing in the bag. That's a definite highlight. And then, what else did I set aside? Oh yeah, Siren. That definitely has me intrigued. And the Nightman. So you guys be easy. Thank you for kicking it with me on a Saturday night. I'm recording this on a Friday, but I'm going to pretend it's Saturday because that's when I'm putting it out there. So hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday night. You guys be easy. You know, if I could say one thing, just enjoy where you're at. Be the best you that you can be right now, and don't lament what's gone because it's gone. I don't have the ability to walk like I used to stand like I used to, but I'm so much stronger in many other ways, and many other ways that are more important than what I wanted. So you guys be easy, and Don't be the reason somebody's mad. Be the reason somebody smiles. I'm out.